You need to be printing your work.
You need to print your work.
You have to be printing your work.
You need to print your artwork.
You need to print your work.
If you create photos, you've got to print your work.
I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it. You need to be printing your work.
You need to print your photography.
Well, why should you print your work?
Why? Well, that's a good question.
So why? Why do you need to be printing your work? Well, Now, when I think about printing, I think back to when I was in college. For every assignment, I'd have to turn in a print, and then that print would be evaluated by my entire class. Now, shortly after graduating, I started to realize that I'm not printing as much as I used to. No, because I didn't have to. I didn't have assignments anymore. All my imagery just started to exist digitally. I would email a client, or I would upload it to a website, or it exist on my portfolio online. And I realized how much I missed that. I couldn't feel the work, I couldn't see it as I was when I was looking at a print. I couldn't share it with another person.
Ever since I was a kid, I loved making art. And that was the thing I loved most about it, was making art. I loved the process of making something from nothing. And that's what got me into photography. When I was first introduced to it, I was brought into the darkroom and I created an image, and right there in the chemicals, something came from nothing. The image just appeared from nowhere. And it was the most magical thing I'd ever seen. And I think sometimes in photography, we miss out on that. We keep our images on our phones, on our hard drives, and we don't have anything to show people unless you print it. And you print it, it's in your hands, it's a real thing, and you can share it with the world.
And so here are 5 reasons why you should print your work. Printed work will help you evaluate how you process your imagery. Oftentimes I'll go back and re-edit an image after I've seen it as a print. Printing really helps in evaluating your work.
As you print your work, you'll gain a greater understanding of photography and how you shoot personally. You'll see how you handle shadows and how you handle highlights, and see where you need to work in the next image. And when you start printing more often, you'll start to see that affect the way that you shoot.
It becomes a physical object. You can now touch and hold your actual imagery. You can share it with someone else. This also embeds the imagery with greater value because you actually have a print versus just a JPEG somewhere online.
It becomes more real to you. It's a lot like with writing. There's been a lot of studies that have found that handwriting will take a concept and make it more real to your mind. Same thing with printing. When you have your printed work in front of you, your mind becomes more aware of it and it becomes more real to you. When you're looking at a printed photograph, there is something very visceral about the experience. There's a very different feeling to looking at a printed image than looking at a screen. A lot of times when you look at images on a screen, the feeling that you have inside is very similar as you scroll from one to the other, but you have a different experience when you look at that printed image and it's there in front of you.
Another reason I love printing is that feeling of accomplishment. I've concluded that practice or that work or that specific image, so now it's ready to print.
It becomes a finished thing. A printed work almost finalizes your photography process. You shoot it, you edit it, and then it comes out into the real world as a print.
So that, Carlos, is why you should print your work. Now be sure to find a high quality printing studio. Someone's going to give you the accuracy and color and quality that you need. Now, hint, hint, the Visual Center is starting to print.
When you're looking at a printed photograph, there's something very visceral. I just said it again. Visceral. Add that to the dictionary so I can stop trying.